What's up guys, Sean here, and YouTube recently released their new terms of service, and today we're going to talk about how I think they are disastrous for the platform, and possibly disastrous for channels like mine. Hey, I sell t-shirts in my Teespring store. If you use the promo code DUMBPROMO, you could get 10% off. T-shirts, mugs, sweatshirts, whatever you want. All there. Click the link in the description box below. So as many of you probably already know, YouTube recently released their new and updated terms of service, which are meant to address what they say is a problem of harassment and bullying that is spread rampant across this platform. Now, the terms of service were done in a response to a not too recent, but recent manufactured controversy that was started off by then Vox reporter Carlos Maza, because he was upset that Steven Crowder was doing response videos to his Vox political videos. Now, Crowder is a political comedy channel that likes to present itself as a late-night political comedy channel. So Crowder attempts in a lot of its videos to throw in jokes, comedic bits, and he tends to insult people that he is doing video responses to. So Carlos, being the former Media Matters employee that he is, decided it would be a good idea, a good tactic, to go after Crowder, to basically cut up all of the insults across the numerous videos where Crowder was responding to the policies that Maza was putting forward, and act like Crowder was only doing these videos to insult him based on his orientation. Now, Maza released this compilation that he cut together of Crowder insulting him right before June, which, for those of you who don't know, June is Gay Pride Month, or LGBTQ plus whatever Pride Month. And he used the fact that Pride Month was coming up and YouTube is very pro-LGBTQ community, and they had very pro-LGBTQ community marketing campaigns to sort of shame YouTube into doing something about his political opposition on the platform. Now, I actually made more than a few videos at the time that this controversy was all getting kicked off, and the conclusion that YouTube originally came to was that Steven Crowder did not violate YouTube's terms of service when it came to bullying and harassment. And the reason why they came to that conclusion is because Steven Crowder did not violate YouTube's terms of service when it came to bullying and harassment. On YouTube previously, you were not allowed to make videos for the sole purpose of degrading somebody based on their innate characteristics. Crowder was clearly making response videos to the policy portions of the Vox videos, and he threw in some personal jabs and insults. That is not the same thing as cyberbullying and not the same thing as harassment, which is why YouTube initially ruled the right way on this case. However, the far left was not happy with this response, so their campaign against Steven Crowder continued. You saw a lot of left-wing commentators reading off out-of-context excerpts of YouTube's terms of services, which left off the key parts about it not being the full portion or the full intent of your video to insult, in order to play it like Crowder did violate the terms of service and say that Crowder did deserve to be banned. And eventually YouTube relented by removing Steven Crowder's monetization, despite the fact that Steven had, by YouTube's own terms and service, not violated any of the terms and conditions set forward by YouTube. However, of course, that wasn't satisfactory to Maza and the far left, who wanted Crowder outright banned. So for months and months, these same people continue to campaign for YouTube to restrict the political opinions that they disagree with across this platform. Now, because YouTube is terrible, right after they removed Crowder's monetization without cause, they decided to go back to the drawing board and announced that there would soon be new terms of service on the platform that would be even more restrictive, so that way when you don't violate the terms of service, they could retroactively enforce these new terms of service against you and start removing your content and monetization ability. So now YouTube has decided that essentially, even if your individual videos don't violate their terms of service, they don't qualify as harassment, they can make a whole is greater than the sum of its parts type of argument based on the overall context that they have determined your channel has, and use that to either kick you from the partner program, remove your videos, or ban you outright from the platform. And we're already starting to see the signs of this retroactive enforcement across this platform. iDubbbz, who is an enormous creator responsible for the very well put together series Content Cop, recently posted a screenshot of his email announcing that his Content Cop on Leafy has been taken down by YouTube, which is just a tragedy in and of itself, considering when iDubbbz put that video out, Leafy himself was one of the biggest bullies on the platform, and iDubbbz was a way smaller channel deciding to go after him as a bully and really changed the whole environment of YouTube when that came out. That's what put iDubbbz on the map. It's basically like a moment in history in terms of the commentary community and YouTube as a platform overall. And YouTube has decided retroactively that that video is bullying and has removed it from the platform. I saw another video that had over 1 million views that was extremely critical of H3H3 Productions and Ethan Klein in particular, that YouTube also decided to take down, retroactively enforcing their bullying and harassment policy against this creator. Now, this is completely ridiculous because I felt like that video had completely valid criticisms against Ethan. And Ethan is often known for doing the same type of videos, or at least he came up and became famous on this platform for doing response videos to large creators, criticizing the heck out of them. Now, YouTube says that they took into account feedback from a lot of creators, but I think we all know the exact group of creators that YouTube went to determine this harassment policy, because it's the exact group of creators that YouTube always goes to whenever they want to do a new policy update. It's the same very establishment, very safe, very boring in my opinion, creators that YouTube thinks is the most marketable. They go to them, they ask them what's bothering them about the platform, and then they give feedback, and then YouTube makes terrible changes for everyone based on the oversensitivities of these egomaniacs that are being promoted by YouTube. Now, YouTube has a bunch of exemptions to their harassment and bullying policy for satire and for going after powerful people, blah, blah, blah. And what I liken those exemptions to are mainstream media exemptions. Because if you look at any late night TV hosts, those people target people that they disagree with and attack them personally all the time. They target them based on their innate physical characteristics. Lilly Singh, who is promoted across YouTube, does an entire late night show where she basically goes up there and says, white man bad, white man bad. Why is white man bad? Because man is white and man therefore bad. So while you might feel safe due to the exemptions or feel like they're taking in some human element due to the exemptions, I absolutely don't, because as we saw with the original Crowder story, even if something doesn't violate their terms of service, if the left gins up enough hysteria about it, then YouTube will punish you anyway. To me, the exemptions are just an excuse to point to when we find clear and obvious violations from the mainstream media or mainstream late night hosts or any people that YouTube wants to promote, so that they can say, oh, well, that falls under the exemption category. We're not being unfair or anything. They're still following the rules. That's what the exemption is. But when it comes to iDubbbz, who is clearly satirizing somebody who had a much larger platform, then all of a sudden that just needs to be obliterated from the platform, despite the fact that the whole point of Content Cop was YouTube policing itself without the help of the company. Now look, a lot of people are going to tell you that the sky is falling, YouTube is over, and that the only thing that you can do to solve this is to personally give whatever creator is telling you that the sky is falling and YouTube is over money. I don't want to do that because honestly, I've looked through these terms of service and I think on paper, I should be alright. Because I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but throughout the course of this channel, I haven't called very many people very many names in the almost 3 years or past 3 years that I've been making videos for you guys on this channel. I try to avoid direct personal insults and name calling in favor of addressing a person's argument. Rather than calling a person dumb, I'll say that what that person is saying is dumb. So that way what I'm saying is not reflective of that person as a person, it's reflective of the ideas that they're putting forward. Now, I'm not trying to pull an Anna Kasparian and say that I'm better than you or I'm better than content creators that don't operate their channels in the same way that I do. It's just that in my personal life, I almost never resort to personal attacks or name calling, so it didn't seem to make a lot of sense for me to include that or go out of my way to include that or change that about myself when I'm making videos for this public channel. And just because I don't personally do something or I don't personally engage in a certain activity doesn't mean I'm against other people who do decide to engage in that activity. In this case, other content creators that do like to call people names. that can be really entertaining. I watch a lot of content creators across this platform, and I'm not somebody who's like, excuse me, I find that name calling objectionable. How dare you, sir? I'm somebody who enjoys that because it adds flavor, and if it fits in with your persona and it makes your videos more entertaining, then more power to you. It's become insanely popular to call David Benioff and DB Weiss, D&D, the showrunners for the Game of Thrones TV series, Dumb and Dumber, and I watch a lot of videos that are critical, especially of the later seasons of Game of Thrones, and it's kind of funny when people are like Dumb and Dumber. So for YouTube to come out and introduce a policy to say that some of these detailed breakdowns, this very thoughtful analysis that diehard fans of the books and the shows are doing on the later seasons of Game of Thrones is somehow invalid because that content creator also believes that it's okay to call D&D Dumb and Dumber is ridiculous, and that's what should really be found objectionable by people on this platform, not the insults themselves. So yeah, while I might personally feel safe with these new terms of service, or not really safe, but not uniquely endangered by these new terms of service, that doesn't mean I'm not worried about other content creators and the health of this platform overall. There are plenty of great, fantastic content creators that are political on both sides, or that don't do politics at all, that like to pepper their videos with individual insults or whatever, that really make their content more enjoyable. And for YouTube to purge that, and to try to purge that in a way that is going to be selectively enforced, is awful and very destructive to the platform and very destructive to the ecosystem of creators. It shows a great disdain for a lot of creators that are still coming up, that aren't the most marketable or aren't the most TV savvy, the ones that YouTube might want to include in all their campaigns. And finally, I'm going to address the last portion of this video to the people who are writing in the comments, you guys know exactly who you are, that I should move to BitChute, or I should create my own YouTube, and that way I won't have to worry about YouTube's terms of service changes. Yeah, that's just not a viable solution. YouTube is where it's at. It's where you can upload videos. It's where the audience is. And while a bunch of political creators can fantasize about moving to a new platform or starting their own platform so that they can get monetization and that they don't have to worry about the Google overlords dictating what's going on the platform, that's just not a reality. The truth is that YouTube does not need the political creators, but the political creators on YouTube need the generic, very commercially viable YouTubers. I cannot function, this channel is not monetizable without the makeup channels on this platform, without the other very, very kid-friendly or very advertiser-friendly channels on this platform, those mainstream channels on this platform. You can't expect a small minority of less than likely to be commercially viable creators on a platform for everyone to break away and join up with another platform or form another platform, and for that other platform to be successful. The truth is that we need the other creators on these massive platforms. I have a Minds account and a Gab account. They are linked in the description box of these videos. And guess what? My Minds and my Gab get nowhere near the interaction that my Twitter gets. Because people aren't on Gab. People are not on Minds. That's just the way it is. You can't expect me to move to a platform. You can't expect all these creators to move to a platform that is just not viable to sustain their creators. If at any point any of these other platforms build up enough of a user base that they can sustain the creators on those platforms, I got news for you. You won't have to comment on YouTube videos telling creators to move over there because creators will have already done so. So yeah, while I'm always hopeful and looking for an alternative, while I'm always looking for a better way to distribute my content across the internet, facts are facts, and the fact is, YouTube's where it's at. If you're not on YouTube and you're creating videos, then chances are you're not very successful at creating videos. I understand that Facebook is building up their video thing, and honestly, I might join and start making Facebook videos, but that still has time to come to fruition for me to actually jump on board, especially since I absolutely hate Facebook and I hate the way that videos work on Facebook. But that's just a personal grievance that I might have to make a business decision to overcome somewhere down the line. But anyway, those are my thoughts on the YouTube change in terms of service. Let me know what you guys think about these changes down in the comments below. If you like this video, then please show me by leaving a like. You can subscribe for more content, follow me on all my social medias. If you want to support me, buy a t-shirt. You can do so monthly on Patreon and Subscribe Store, or through one-time donations on Venmo and PayPal. This has been me talking about the new TOS of YouTube and how bad it is. Till next time.